Hello everyone. So in today's video we'll discuss about GraphQL and how we can implement the same in our Magento store. So as you can see, currently I am in my GraphQL website, or this is probably the website which link I will give in the description box. So GraphQL, if I say it's a more advanced version of REST API, and it has got certain advantages. Okay, so as you can see, this is probably the definition of GraphQL. As you can see, it's a query language for APIs and a runtime for fulfilling those queries with your existing data. So this is probably the theory part of it. And what are the advantages is that whatever it is very much specific, unlike the REST APIs which gives you a bulk response, it will give you whatever you required. Okay, so response time is quite fast. Second point, if we discuss, is that within a single request we can ask for data from that belongs to different resources, which was not possible in REST API, because for each, if we want to get the data from each of the resources, we had to make different requests in REST API. And over here in GraphQL, what is done is basically whatever data is there, so they are all arranged according to the data types. So as you can see, it's a pretty much examples given in this particular website, and there's lot of things that you can just explore in this website. And if I scroll down, a video is there how you can use it, and who is using the GraphQL currently: Facebook, GitHub, Pinterest, Coursera, Shopify, and there are various others users who are using GraphQL. And so this is the part of GraphQL that we're talking about, and how we can implement the same in Magento. And along with that, I will also like to add is that there will be a playlist of it, and this is probably the first video that you are currently watching, and I'll be uploading the subsequent videos in the future. So I will start with how we can do the same in our Magento store, and I'll tell you how we can implement it, and then we'll move forward. So without any further ado, let's get started. So this is the website link I will give you, and you can explore it. There are so many information that is given over here. And so this is the main website part of it, and this is the code part of it. If you click on code, you have server libraries. So if you're working on PHP, R, Python, whatever, so this is the PHP part of it, and a detailed description is given over here, so you can have a look on it. Okay, so we have so many information on this particular website, so you can just go through it. Okay, now we'll move to the GraphQL implementation in Magento, how Magento is using it. So if I go to my PHP store, and this is the Magento 2.3.3 which I have installed in my local. Now what I'm going to show you is that from where we are getting the GraphQL part. So as you can see, the latest versions of Magento and all, we are getting this extension called GraphQL, which we can use it. And probably we'll talk about the PWA part of it in the future videos, but in today's, let's stick to GraphQL and how we can implement it, and what are the various advantages and how we can use it. So and we also talk about maybe in the future about the headless architecture of Magento, and how GraphQL is going to is helping that part of it. Yeah, so if you go to the vendor part, if I expand it, and you have to scroll down. When you scroll down, you'll find a module called Webonics. Yeah, this is the part. So Webonics is the module name, and this is the part that is a GraphQL, from where you can see the extension of GraphQL that has been implemented in our Magento. So this is the module name, so you can just go through. There are so many docs over here available, examples are there, hello world, source as well. Okay, so this is the module of GraphQL. Fine. Now let me go to the Magento's modules which is there. So you have to, same in the vendor module, what you have to do, you have to go to Magento. Yeah, this is the Magento part. Let's go to the catalog module. See, this is the module catalog, and for each of the each of the modules, we have a GraphQL module as well. See, for module catalog we have got module catalog GraphQL. Similarly, for inventory we have inventory GraphQL. Okay, if I scroll down, let's say go to the customer. For customer we have a customer GraphQL. Okay, and as I said, this will be a playlist, so I will not cover so many things at one go. It will complicate complicate things as well as makes this it will make the video very long, so I don't want to do that. I'll break it into smaller parts and I'll upload it subsequently. So since this is an introduction part of it, so we'll just go through it, how we can implement it. So this is the customer GraphQL for the, for example, if I'm telling you, so this is the thing, etc folder is there, and in the folder we have got a schema.graphqls. Over here the schema part of GraphQL and before going forward, I just want to tell you that there are two main sections the schema of GraphQL that we have to keep in our mind is one is the query part and one is the mutation part. Query part, as it says, it's basically used for fetching the data, whereas mutation, it will help you to add or update any certain data. As in the case of the CRUD operations that we used to do in the REST API, the same way we can implement or we can use it in our GraphQL extension. So this is the schema.graphqls, and so the whole schema is defined over here. Okay, so as you can see, we have a query, we have customers, these are the types over here, this is the email, that is, it is taking the arguments over here. So basically when I will do this, let's say I'll talk about I'll show you how it is working. At that point of time it will be very much clear to you guys. So for the time being, just go through it. The schema.graphql, it defines the schema of it, where you define the structure of it, and let's say what are the types of inputs, what type of outputs are there, what is the data type of it. So all those things are defined over here. So as you can see, if I talk about the query, it is taking a and it is a customer query. Okay, and customer query, we have customer, we have is available queries as well. Okay, so let us start with the small one, that is the is available. It will show you whether the email is available or not. That is a new customer email. So if it is a new customer, it will tell you whether it is a new customer email or not. So it is taking the input parameter as email, and which is of string, and it is giving you the output, that is email available output. And for each of this we have a resolver class. So resolver is basically, just keep it in your mind, is basically a system where it takes the input, it does all the operations within it, and it gives the output. So that is the work of the resolver. And for the resolver we have a class over here, and just keep in mind as well that for the resolver we do not write the entire logic in that particular file. Resolver is basically a system, as I said. It will again call another class where all the logics or all the implementation will be done, and from that particular class it will come again back to the resolver, and resolver will give you the output. So this is the work of the resolver. Yeah, so this is the query, and the same way mutation also works. So pretty much same, the working formula is pretty much same for query and mutation. And as you can see, we have the inputs as well whenever you are going to create a customer. So this is the customer, and you have to give the inputs over here, and we also have the output, and we have the resolver. Okay, so this is the schema part of it. And if I go to the resolver, yeah, this is the resolver. So let's see, if I go to the is email available, so see the logic, it's not implemented here. It is actually implemented in this particular file called account management. It is from resolver, it is going to the account management, it is doing all sorts of operations, then it is coming back over here, then it is giving you the output. Okay, so we are not going to write all the logic in the resolver. Resolver basically, it will take the input, do the operations, gives you the output. That's it, nothing more than that. Okay, so we are done with the GraphQL modulation. So this is, subsequently we'll try to create our own query and mutation. At that point of time it will be much more clear. So let's see how we can see it running. For that, go to your browser. Okay, there's an extension. Since this is the Chromium browser, so there's an extension available which is called GraphQL. So it is available, just search it on Google, you will get it. Just add it as the extension. See, I've added it as an extension. The ChromiQL, GraphQL, as you can see, it is there, it is available over here. Okay, so when it is available, the first thing that you have to do is to set the endpoint. So how you are going to set the endpoint? This is the URL that you are going to use. Okay, so if you see this part of it is my the URL of my Magento. Okay, that is a storefront URL. Fine. After that, give a slash and give GraphQL. When that is done, this is the entire URL. When that is done, just click on set endpoint. So when it is successfully has set the endpoint to your Magentos, So it will give you an output similar like this. So this is a documentation explorer, and as it says, it gives a provider root type of each kind of an operation, and there are two root types over here. One is the query and one is the mutation. Okay, so query, as I said earlier, query is basically for fetching of data, whereas mutation is used for adding or update and all those of similar types of CRUD operations that we have done. Okay, so you'll get two root types over here. Now I'll just show you one by one for the query part first. So let's say if I click on query, what we want to search. Okay, so I've already tried searching a product, so let me just delete it. I'll do from fresh. Okay, so what you will do, just write it over here, that is product. Okay, now if I click on products, see, the product query searches for products that matches the criteria specified in the search and filter attributes. So what I will do, since it's a query one, okay, see the type is root type is of query, so what I will do, all in small. Okay, I'll write query, open the brackets, curly braces. Now it is of type products. Okay, so write products. So when you write products, it will give you, it will autofill it. So hit enter. Now products is there. What it is wanting, it wants arguments like search, filter, page size, current page, short. All are not important, but you have to give certain arguments for it to work. So first argument, let's say I'm giving search. Okay, in search, what I am doing, let's say I'm giving bag. Okay, now comma, what I am going to give next, let's say page size. So I'm giving page size. Page size means what is the total amount of output that I want in a particular page. So page size, let's say 5. Okay, what is my current page? Current page, let's say first page. I want to see the first page. When that is done, when your arguments are done, just open another curly bracket and click on products. So products is basically the output part of it, and as I said, unlike REST API, you can filter it out. You just want to get whatever information. You have to be, let's say if you want any specific data, you can do that in GraphQL. So what I will do, in the output I need only the SQ. Okay, so items, see, items is there. If you click on items, it is a product interface type. So what it is saying, you can give all these things over here. So currently what I will give over here for items is that I want SQ. Okay, what else I can give? Let's see if anything else is there. Let's say description. Okay, let's say ID. What else? Inventory is there. Short description. I don't know whether I have given any short description for it. Why it is saying. Okay, complex type. Okay, what else is there? Stock is there. Websites. Okay, so it is of type complex. So let's say go to websites. Where is websites? Yes, websites, it's of type website. What else is there? Name. Yeah, see, name. So when that is done, just click on this one, execute query. See, you have got the output. So SQ is Puma, gym bag, ID is 4, website is main website. Similarly custom bag, Jost, duffel bag is there, ID is 1, and it is website name is main website. So this is one example of query that I've shown you. So what you have to keep in your mind is that whenever you're doing a query and want to execute it, just follow this particular documentation, because it will give you all the ideas. Just follow the root node, that is the root type. Follow if there is any arguments there or not, fill out the arguments, give all the whatever arguments is required, pass those arguments, give the output, because output is very much important over here, because you want to be very much specific what you want to get. So pass only that particular output which you want to receive. Let's say over here I do not want all these ID and website names, so just remove it. Okay, just hit enter. See, it is only giving me the SQ part of it. Fine. So like this you can filter it out, and you can be very much specific whenever you want to get some data. Okay, let me see if there is any other I can show you currently in this particular video. What else I can give? Product image, what is there? The level of product image. See, it is asking me, let's see if I delete this query, what it is saying, product what is this product image, right? Product, what is happening, where is it? Product, something is wrong. Just hold on, guys. Type is products. Okay, that was an interface, sorry. So you have to look out for the types. So let's see, category tree. What is category tree? Okay, just hold on, guys. Let me see if anything else is there that I can show you over here. Category products, let's see, try with this one. Category, okay, searches for the category tree, searches for the categories that match the criteria specified. Okay, let's try with category tree. Okay, category, okay, category is there, created at. Okay, now let's see, ID for category should be specified. Okay, I will pass the ID. Just hold on, guys. Let me see if there is anything. Type is category products. Why it is not coming? That is my question. Category, sorry. So like this you have to search, right? I have not done it previously, so I'm just doing it, running it, executing it the video only. Okay, so we have category tree. No, it is not working. Products, okay, I have to pass ID. What else? Let's say ID2, name. Okay, let me execute it. Yeah, so this is the default category. Now if I pass 4, what it will give me office bags. So these are my category names. So like this you can search it. Okay, if we go to category, see query category is there. This is of type category tree, argument is ID, that is int, that is the ID of the category. Okay, now if I click on category tree, that is the output of it. Over here you can see so many things you can pass. Okay, I passed name, so now I'm getting the name of the category. Okay, now if I give, say let's say path of it, see there's a path in it. Okay, so if I give path, it will give me the path of the category. See, path is 1 2 3 4, that is the path of the category. Okay, fine, guys. So this is related to the query part of category, and I've shown you the products. So like this you can play around and you can check if anything is going wrong around here or not. Okay, so this is with the query part of it. So what we can do with our mutation part. Okay, so now let's say we are searching with mutation. Mutation, what we can get, create, generate customer token. So basically when you are doing let's say you are trying to do any sort of activity using GraphQL, you want to have a customer token, because without a token you cannot do such activities, let's say adding products and all. So let's say using the mutation we'll create customer token. So write mutation, open the brackets, what you will give customer token, customer, generate customer token. Okay, see the name is here, generate customer token. Where is it? Yeah, see, generate customer token. Now the parameters are email and password. So if I click on it, the parameters are email and password, which is of type string. So pass the email, let's say what do you have, anything, Yeah, see, we have test123@yahoo.com. This is the email, and this is the password. Password is abcd.1234. Okay, so I've given the input, that is the arguments, and when that is done, what I want to get in the output. So just click on customer token. So token is a field that I can generate. This is a single field. So just write token. Click on enter or the execute it. So it is giving me the customer token. So I can use this token to do customer activities using GraphQL. So that is regarding the mutation part, and it will see there are so many activities you can do using mutation: configurable products, adding to it to the cart, creating the customer, creating customer address. See, for if you click on create customer address, just do one thing, write same thing, create customer address. What is there in the input? So input is of type input of type customer address input. Click on it, you will get so many things. So you can pass it over here. So just open the brackets. What is there? CT, that is input. Okay, just pass it. Sorry for that. So when you pass it like city, what else is there? Company. So like this you can give all these fields whichever is required, and when that is done, just click on it and it will execute. So I believe we have covered the query and the mutation part of it. Just play around with this particular extension or whatever extension you can get, so where you can execute the GraphQL. Just run those things and see how the things are working over here, and so that in the next video I'll tell you how you can create your own query and how you can create your own mutation. So that I'll do in a separate video. So with that, I think I am able to explain the introductory part of GraphQL and how you can see it and how you can execute it using an extension. That is of two types, that is a query and mutation. Okay, so I think with that I'm going to end this video. If you have any questions, just drop in your comments, and if there is any suggestions or anything else, you can directly drop in your comments. All are welcome. So I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.